Assalamualaikum. Most divorced men say they want a better woman next time. That is not the real problem. The real problem is they have never defined her properly, and they have not become the kind of man who can keep her when Allah finally puts her in front of them. Before we continue, download the Muslim Man Rebuild Playbook. It's a practical reset for divorced Muslim men who want to rebuild with clarity, self-respect, and Allah-conscious standards. This one stops fantasy, forces honesty, and helps you stop repeating the same pain with a different face. Let me say something uncomfortable early. A lot of men say, I want a good woman, a feminine woman, a loyal woman. I want peace. I want wife material. That sounds nice, but it is vague, lazy, and dangerous. Because vague men get vague outcomes. And vague outcomes are exactly how many men walk back into the same misery they swore they would never repeat. You do not need better luck. You need better clarity. And that starts with something simple. Sit down, take a pen and paper, and write down exactly what you want in a wife. Not just looks, because that is where foolish men stop. Write the whole thing. For example, her deen, character, values, mindset, how she speaks when she is calm or when she is upset, how she handles conflict, how she treats her parents, how she respects boundaries, how she thinks about money, how she thinks about children, loyalty, how she dresses and carries herself, how she supports a man, how she responds to leadership, how she deals with pressure, she deals with disappointment, how she gives peace, how she receives correction, how serious she is about Islam, how serious she is about family. Write until you are exhausted. Do not perform. Do not write what sounds impressive. Write what actually matters for your life. Because this is not about fantasy. This is about fit, compatibility. And if you are rebuilding after divorce, fit matters more than excitement. A lot of men got burned the first time because they were led by attraction, loneliness, ego, urgency, or fantasy, not discernment. That is why I want you to write the full list. Because when you write properly, you stop lying to yourself. You stop saying, I just want someone nice. No, you want specific things, and you should, because marriage is not a holiday. It is not just chemistry, not just beauty. It is not just, hey, we click. Marriage will eventually test values, habits, patience, emotional discipline, money, family boundaries, faith, responsibility, and character under stress. And if you are vague before marriage, you will be shocked by reality after marriage. That is the first truth. If you cannot define her clearly, you are not ready to choose wisely. And that already separates the serious man from the desperate man. But that is only the beginning. Because once the list is written, now the real pain starts. Take that full list, cut it down to your top 20, not 50, not everything under the sun. Top 20. The traits without which the marriage will slowly rot. Now, look at those 20 and ask yourself a brutal question. Do I have these traits myself? This is where the room gets quiet. Because now it is no longer about her. Now it is about you. If you demand loyalty, are you loyal? If you demand emotional maturity, are you emotionally stable? If you want softness, do you bring safety? If you want femininity, do you bring grounded masculinity? If you want a woman with standards, are you a man worth those standards? If you want peace, do you bring peace into a room? Or do you bring tension, ego, suspicion, and unresolved pain? If you want discipline, are you disciplined? If you want a woman who fears Allah, do you obey Allah privately when nobody is watching? This is where many men expose themselves. They want a queen while living like a clown. They want beauty while carrying bitterness. They want peace while bringing chaos. They want a high quality woman while they are still needy, reactive, weak in discipline, weak in deen, weak in emotional control, and still bleeding from the past. That is not standards. Hey, that is delusion. And divorced men are especially vulnerable to this delusion because pain makes fantasy feel justified. You tell yourself, I suffered, so now I deserve better. No, suffering alone does not qualify you for better. Transformation does. Pain does not make you ready. Work on yourself makes you ready. That is the second truth. Do not just ask whether she matches your standards. Ask whether you can sustain hers. That question will save you years because your next wife should not be a reward for surviving your divorce. She should be a reflection of the man you became after it. That is a very different thing. And this is where many men either rise or collapse. Some men hear this and get offended. Good, they should, because sometimes the offense is not from falsehood. Sometimes it is from exposure. Sometimes the truth hurts because it landed exactly where the laziness has been hiding. And if that truth stings, use it. Do not defend yourself. Develop yourself because there is an even uglier trap after this. Once a man starts rebuilding, he gets pressured by time. People start talking. Family talks. Friends talk. Society talks. Your own loneliness talks. And now you start hearing rubbish like this. When are you getting married again? You have healed already, right? Don't wait too long. You need a woman now, bro. What if you miss your chance? Listen carefully. A rushed man is a blind man, and a blind man will call his desperation readiness. That is how men repeat disaster. Because now you are not choosing from strength. You are just choosing to escape discomfort. You are choosing to silence loneliness. You are choosing because the pressure around you is louder than the standards inside you. That is weak. And weak choices make expensive consequences. Let me make this plain. There's nothing wrong with wanting love again. There's nothing wrong with wanting a righteous wife. There is nothing wrong with wanting companionship, softness, attraction, peace, and partnership. But there is something very wrong with trying to find all that before you have rebuilt yourself. Because then you turn marriage into pain relief. And pain relief is a terrible basis for choosing a life partner. For me, this framework mattered because it forced honesty. I met different women. Some were attractive, some were decent, Some were pleasant to talk to, but attraction is not enough. Pleasant is not enough. Seems okay is not enough. When I looked properly, I realized many did not match what I truly needed for my life, values, and future. And that matters. Because if you are careless after divorce, you can walk straight back into another polished incompatibility. Looks can distract you. Charm can distract you. Chemistry can distract you. But incompatibility still collects its bill later. Then when I met my current wife, I saw something different. The values were there, the character were there, the alignment was there. The things that mattered were there. And just as importantly, I had to ask myself the same hard question. Am I also the kind of man who matches what I am asking from her? And Alhamdulillah, most of it, yes. The parts that were still not where they should be, I kept working on. That is the posture, not arrogance, not fantasy, not entitlement. It is simply work. You do your part. Allah opens the doors, not on your timeline, but on His wisdom. So stop panicking if it has not happened in 1 year, or 2 years, or longer than 5 years. Who told you that your healing must obey social deadlines? Who told you that you must remarry quickly to prove that you are okay? That is not strength. That is insecurity wearing formal clothes. Let people talk. A lot of people do not want what is best for you. They want what makes them feel normal. And normal already gave many men pain. So now you move differently. You rebuild properly. You sharpen your standards. You purify your intentions. You strengthen your deen. You become emotionally cleaner. You become more disciplined. You become more honest. You become the kind of man who is not impressed too easily and not lonely enough to betray his own standards. That is power. That is dignity. And that is what a Muslim man in rebuild mode should be chasing. Not speed, not validation, not female attention, not the performance of being back. Real rebuild is slower than ego wants, but it is cleaner. And cleaner is better than faster. So here is the line I want stuck in your head. Do not just ask whether she is your dream woman. Ask whether you have become a man of her dreams. That one question can save your future because the right woman is not just found. Very often, she is met after you become the right man. And if you ignore this, you will keep doing what many broken men do. You will be impressed by surface, you will be vague about standards, you will rush because of pressure, you will choose from loneliness, and then you will call the consequences bad luck. It was not bad luck, it was poor preparation. But if you apply this, everything changes. You become slower, cleaner, stronger, harder to fool, harder to tempt, harder to rush, more honest with yourself, more respectful of marriage, more conscious of Allah, more worthy of the kind of woman you claim to want. That is the identity shift. Not, I hope I find the right woman, but I am becoming the right man and I trust Allah with the timing. That is a stronger place to live from. If this hit you, download the rebuild guide in the description. Subscribe if this resonated. And in the comments, tell me this plainly. What is that one trait you want in your future wife that you know you still need to strengthen in yourself? That answer will tell you where your rebuild really begins.